Hi, this is Edward Troxel. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to take each event on a track on the timeline and take a snapshot of the first frame of each event and number them, starting with number 0 and just incrementing the number, and also including the leading zeros in the file name. So let's see how we can do that using a script in Vegas. Here we have our standard script, everything down to my Vegas equals Vegas is basically the consistent stuff that we use in every script. Then we need to create a folder browser because we are going to ask where do we want to save these images. So we create a new folder browser. We just put a description here. Here, instead of the folder to check, we want to say to save the images. So we'll make that little change there. Then we have our show folder button is false. We're not going to create a new folder. Then we set the root folder equal to, I'm just setting it to my computer. You could put any file path that you want there. And then we're going to show the dialog. Then if they clicked OK and they did select a path, then we're going to output one image per event. Now we're going to output the first image per event. If you wanted to do some other image out of each event, then you could add an offset to get, say, the fifth image, fifth frame of that event, however you wanted to do it. But we're going to output one image per event, and we're going to put them into this selected path. Now here is the output one image per event, and we passed it the string, which is the selected folder. Now I've created me a string here. This is the format of my file names. I want to have all leading zeros, so this is going to be my format. And then I created me an image counter starting at 0. So the first one we output is 0, and then we're going to increment that for each image that we output. Now for each track in mytrack.project.tracks, if mytrack.selected, if this is a selected track and this is a video track, I want to go through each track event in mytrack.events. So then I'm going to get me a time code, which is the start frame, which is the event.start. Then I'm going to create me a string, which is the file name. The file name I'm going to get from selected folder. Then I'm going to add the path.directory separator character. And then I'm going to convert the image counter number to string, and I'm going to use this format. And finally, we add the .png at the end because we're going to save them in PNG formats. So to save the image, we're going to go to myvegas.savesnapshot. We're going to pass it the file name. We're going to tell it we want it to be a PNG. And then we're going to pass it the start frame, which is the event.start that we set up here. Afterwards, we're going to increment the image counter so that the next one will be number 1, and then the next one will be number 2. And then we just close all the brackets, and then here is the entry point that is standard in all the scripts that I do. So let's run this script. Here you can see I have a timeline with a bunch of events. These happen to be dashcam events. And I have a bunch of events on the timeline here, and we're going to just get the first frame from each one of these events. So the first thing it asks is, where do I want to save these? So let's just pick a place. We'll just put VidTemp. That'll be good enough for this. And you can see it is now exporting each one of these images individually, moving the cursor as it goes. And now let's go look at that folder. So if we look inside the VidTemp folder, now you can see we have an image named 00000, 00001, 2, 3, and so forth, all the way down to 43. And I had 43 events on the timeline. So we could actually add these to the timeline. And now if we played that back, you can see for every 5 seconds we'll have a new image. So as you can see, there is a quick and easy way that we could save one snapshot from each event. Like I said, if you didn't want the first frame, you could always create you an offset so that you get, say, the 5th frame or the center frame, or however you wanted to do it. But that is an easy way to get a bunch of snapshots from the timeline if that's what you needed to do. So I hope you find this tutorial useful. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.